Hello, I'm Alex,
And I'm John.
and welcome to the Hripko Team Monthly Update. Let's get right into the statistics.
Okay, before we do that, I'd like to mention to everyone, click on the link below. You're going to see an invitation to a session we're having this coming Tuesday. That's Tuesday, May the 12th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're having another session with Ann-Marie Lurie. She's the Chief Economist of the Calgary Real Estate Board. We're going to have her on our typical semi-annual session, whereby she's going to be reviewing the marketplace so far this year, looking at our projections for the balance of the year, looking at interest rates, also things like what parts of the marketplace are doing well. And we're going to be talking about that momentarily, as well as Alex and I will be talking about what we see ourselves on the streets and what's happening there. So let me just quickly read this here. And bottom line, overall in Calgary, right now, the average price for detached homes is roughly $745,000, and that's down just under 3% year over year. So I'm not too concerned about the price differential year over year. It's basically where we are today versus where we were previously, but that's still a 2-month inventory. So remember what we talked about previously, months of inventory, whenever we're roughly under 3 to 3.5 months of inventory, we're a seller's marketplace. Now, depending on what segment of the marketplace we're in, we'll see this momentarily. We're either a seller's market, a balanced market, or definitely a buyer's market. On the semi side, that's the attached homes, the average price right now is running at $690,000, and the prices are basically stable over where we were previously. Row housing, so that's like townhouses that are side by side, and those average prices right now are $423,000, and they're down 7% over what we saw last year. The biggest factor is condominium apartment style properties, and those are down to 301. If you recall, roughly a year ago, we were running roughly 335. They're down 9% month over month since a year ago. And however, again, as mentioned for many months now, their months of inventory is running at approximately just over 4 months. So definitely into buyer's side of the marketplace. Now, there's a lot of new inventory coming on there because of new construction and things like that. So Alex, why don't you give your insights insofar as where you think the marketplace is in those detached semi-row and apartment styles?
Yeah, so what I feel like we're seeing right now is multiple different markets within our overall Calgary and area marketplace where the detached product is going pretty quickly. Of course, it depends on the area, the price point, how it shows, and is the property actually priced appropriately or not. But in most cases, inventory is pretty low still, so homes tend to move fairly quickly, especially as we are in the spring market and approach the summer months as well. Now, semi-detached product is very similar to the detached product, just of course slightly lower in price point. Now, when we go to the townhouses and condominiums, this is where, as John mentioned, where we see a lot of that frustration, I guess, on the seller side, where homes are sitting on the market a lot longer and prices are not necessarily going up, but they are on trend with staying balanced in some areas, but also could be going down. And it really depends on what is happening in that specific community as well, where we're seeing lots of inventory flooding into the marketplace. So you're competing with tons of other properties to get your property sold. And essentially you have to figure out what can you be doing to wow the buyers to buy your home versus the others, especially in condominiums when we're looking at many investors are getting out of the marketplace just because of where things are, maybe what's happening in their local cities, for example. And that is also adding more inventory to the market paired with brand new starts, meaning brand new construction that's finally being finished, and those properties are now on the market as well.
Now, a little bit of updates for our surrounding communities. In Cochrane, the average price right now for detached homes is $569,000, which is just marginally down from where we were a year ago. Sales were a whopping total of 121 sales in April, which is up 29%. So you look at 121, 30%. So basically that says a year ago they only had 80 sales. Primary reason for that is last year they had very little inventory available in Cochrane. Months of inventory right now in Cochrane is 2.65, which is basically flat from where we were a year ago. And again, that's definitely on the seller side of the marketplace as well. In Airdrie, $517,000 is the average price. That's down approximately 5% from where we were last year. Sales are 151, which is down almost 20% from what we saw a year ago. So 20%, 151, that says roughly 30. So we had roughly 115, 120 last year. And months of inventory is skyrocketed. They're now in Airdrie at 3.27 months. which is basically a balanced market. However, it's up 40% from where we were a year ago. So people up in Airdrie who were trying to sell last year, were selling overnight. Now it's going to take a little while longer. And I noticed there's a home that was listed last year. In my opinion, was overpriced at $750,000. Should be priced at $699,000. Just got listed, I noticed earlier this week, at $669,000. And yet, in my opinion, last year, if they listed at $699,000, probably would have sold fairly close, if not at asking price. Now to $669,000, so not only have they lost roughly 5%, but how much more are they going to be losing from that? Lastly, in Okotoks, $678,000 is the average price, basically flat from where we were a year ago. Sales 58 units, which is up almost 4%, and months of inventory 2.57, which is up 13% from where we were. So Alex, what do you see out in the marketplace today with various clients in the detached or attached marketplace? Insofar as like, are there multiple offers happening, or are basically buyers waiting and want to sort of see where the marketplace is going, or what's happening there?
Well, I find that it just really depends on what that product and what that price point is that they're looking for. Where if they're looking for a desirable product that there's really nothing on the market, we will see multiple offers and we'll see homes sell significantly above where where it was listed, for example. Now, many buyers I do find are being patient with respect to what is coming on the market. Maybe just being selective on, is it fitting all of their criteria? Is it something that they're willing to compensate on or whatnot as well? So it just depends on so many different factors, but you are seeing multiple offers in various sectors, I find.
Yep. In fact, I just, before we were recording this, I just showed a brand new property. I say brand new, just came on the marketplace. We're back to the days in certain segments of, they're listed it this morning, which is Thursday morning. And it's coming, they're looking at offers Monday night. And we showed it. We want to write an offer. And I told my clients, be prepared to pay at least minimum, it's listed at $1.8 million. Be prepared to pay into 1.9, even $2 million. It'll be interesting to see what that one's going to sell, because that's how hot certain segments are in the marketplace. Overall, anything else you want to talk about today, Alex?
Really just if you are a buyer, you have options. And I mean, obviously depending on the product type, but you have options and you have to determine on what your timeline kind of looks like and make sure that you work with your real estate agent to get the right home. Now, if you're a seller, just make sure that you price your home appropriately, have it show well, stage it, etc., and you'll sell your property.
Key point there. The more visually attractive and desirable a home will be, the less clutter is in there, newly painted. Just make even like walk-in closets, make them sparse. It's going to be way more desirable visually and sell for higher money. Anyways, bottom line, thanks a lot for listening again for this month. Remember, register for the session on Tuesday, May the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Standard Time with Ann-Marie Lurie. You could basically attend live, or if you just click on it to register, alternately, you could just send a reply email to the registration and just say recording, and we'll send you a recording of the entire session. Should you have any questions you'd like Ann-Marie to address, please send them to us with your registration. We'll be glad to pass that on. Alternately, if you just want to just send us an email direct with regard to your questions, send it to info@teamhripko.ca. That's info@teamhrip, like Peter, ko.ca. We'll make sure Ann-Marie responds to your questions. Anyways, thanks a lot, and definitely let us know what else you'd like us to talk about in future months so that you're getting the information that you want to have. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. See you next month.